radio@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ, a tournament of champions.
Welcome back. Welcome to the second hour of debate. Let's rev up the tempo, shall we? All right. So interesting first debate. And we have our third, and obviously our penultimate qualifier into the quarterfinals. One more qualifying spot to go. We're about to find out. But we have some rituals we have to do first, yeah?
Yes, Femi. Now, Abiel will know how she will debate on Thursday. She will also get the topic for that match on Thursday. I will ask the lady to my right to pick one and hand it over to me. Please do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Femi, please hand this over to the lady to hand over to Abiel. Good. Thank you. Abiel, how will you argue? You will support the motion on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, then. All right. Abiel knows the side she will argue on Thursday. She also knows the topic.
Brilliant. Second debate on Thursday. All the best to you, Abiel, and to, your opponent, whom we're about to find out.
That's
okay.
Right.
All right. Having said that, I think at this point now we should meet.
Yes, we will after we take a quick break because Abiel has to exit the studio.
No, she can wait a few seconds.
Okay.
She can wait for the introduction so that we take that break once.
Absolutely.
Okay. Quickly, we have changed our live streams. If you're following us on YouTube and Facebook, please refresh your feed so that you can catch the new feed for this broadcast. Let us quickly meet the two contestants for this hour. I'd like to introduce first, from King's Anchor College. She's a 15-year-old young lady in SS3. We've seen her here before in the first and second rounds. She was a proud qualifier into this quarterfinal stage. Let's say welcome to Ilechukwu, Malizu. Hello, Malizu. How are you? You are welcome to the debate stage once again. Are you ready for your quarterfinal matchup? Brilliant. Thank you very much. So Ilechukwu, Malizu. Her opponent is same age, same class. Pretty young minds. And yes, we remember her vividly from her previous debates. I remember her second round debate, the round of 16. Please say welcome from Headstart High School to Ngwu, Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Welcome to the debate. How are you feeling today? Are you ready to do battle, though? No doubt. Okay. Thank you very much. So, it's Malizu up against Nicole.
The motion for this hour is it ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries? Lagos, this one is interesting because this is all around us in this country and in other developing countries. So I look forward to how these ones will debate. Last week, they got a chance to pick their sides. They will now remind us how they will argue this evening. I'll start with the lady to my left. Nicole, how will you argue this evening?
I'm supporting.
Okay. Nicole will say it is ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries. Her opponent, Malizu, will say no, it is unethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries. Lagos. They'll take it away when we come back from this break.
The quarterfinals of I Beg to Differ Season 8 resume on Tuesday with thought-provoking debates. Prepare for a compelling discussion on the media's influence on gender narratives and societal norms when Abiel Yunusa and Samuel Richard Wofai debate the topic, Is world media's portrayal of gender harmful? At 5 p.m., let's dive into a moral and economic debate that questions the practices of global giants and their impact on developing nations. When Ilechukwu Malizu and Ngwu Nicole go head-to-head on the topic, is it ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries? I am Yvonne Okhaifo. Join Femi Obong-Daniels and me on Tuesday to witness the wit, strategy, and persuasive power of these debaters. I Beg to Differ Season 8. 32 debaters, now 6. One winner, 1 million naira. Sponsored by Tollywood College, supported by Obiwizi, Lucas Green Fashion, Beloxi, Card Center Nigeria Limited, and Quadros Group. Season 8 continues in March and terminates in August with the National Championship. For sponsorship and partnership, send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm. That is info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ, a tournament of champions.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're set for this thrilling quarter-final debate. And after this, one of these two debaters will exit the tournament. The other will progress to the second semi-final debate to go up against Abiel Yunusa on Thursday. It's Ilechukwu Malizu of King's Anchor College up against Ngwu Nicole of Headstart High School. It is time now to debate.
Is it ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries? Nicole will say yes. Malizu will say no. We will start this round with the motion supporter, Nicole.
We cannot expect developing nations to abide by the same labor as developed nations. It's about meeting them where they are and helping them rise. This quote was said by Bill Gates, a philanthropist and a co-founder of Microsoft. Before I continue, let me give honor to whom honor is due. Good day, my esteemed judges, my honorable opinions, and my ever-attentive audience. My name is Ngwu Nicole, and today I stand firmly in support of the mission, is it ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries? The quote I stated earlier simply means the ethical approach to foster gradual improvement, not impose unrealistic standards. While the word exploit often evokes negative emotion, let us look at this issue pragmatically. Exploitation in this context means providing jobs that are better than the alternatives available, paving the way for economic growth and development. Imagine a fisherman who struggles daily to catch enough fish to feed his family. A passing merchant notices his plight and offers him work at a steady wage for a large market. Though the pay isn't much by global standards, it's far better than his uncertain catches before. This is the story of millions in developing countries. Multinational corporations provide jobs that help reduce poverty. The garment industry in Bangladesh employs over 4 million workers who had no stable income before. The World Bank estimates that such jobs have reduced poverty in Bangladesh by 1.5% annually. Is it ethical to deny people a steady livelihood, even if it doesn't meet to the highest global standards? Secondly, economic growth and national development. Multinational corporations contribute significantly to the gross domestic product, GDPs, of developing countries, helping them build stronger economies and create more opportunities for their citizens. In Vietnam, companies like Nike have transformed the economy by establishing a robust manufacturing sector, which accounts for 60% of Vietnam's GDP. Vietnam's poverty rate has dropped from 60% in 1990s to below 6% in 2020 due to the presence of multinational corporations. Should we overlook the undeniable benefits multinational corporations bring to developing countries? Thirdly, better wages compared to local alternatives. Critics often argue that multinational corporation wages are low, but they often pay more than the local standards, offering better opportunities than subsistence farming or informal labor. A 2018 study shows that garment workers in Ethiopia earn 30% more than they would for subsistence farming or informal labor. In Kenya, tea plantation workers employed by multinational corporations earn 60% more than locally owned farms in Kenya. In addition, skill development and long-term benefits. Multinational corporations provide training, expertise, and technologies, empowering local workers and boosting employability. For instance, China advanced from low-wage labor to global manufacturing leadership through skill transfer. According to the International Labour Organization (ILO), over 85% of workers trained by multinational corporations report improved career prospects. Furthermore, infrastructure and community development. Multinational corporations often invest in building infrastructures like roads, schools, and hospitals for the better of communities. Examples include the Coca-Cola water project in India and other regions in Africa, with 25% higher infrastructure growth due to involvement in multinational corporations. Lastly, global standards will improve over time. Labor conditions in developing countries improve significantly with sustained involvement in multinational corporations, which is similar to the West historical industrial evolution. Nations like Vietnam and Indonesia have seen better labor rights due to the engagement with multinational corporations. Is it fair to expect developing nations to leapfrog stages of economic growth without the involvement of multinational corporations? In conclusion, their actions might not align with the idealistic definition of ethics, but they provide benefits for millions of people. Thank you.
All right. All right. So you've heard the opening round for Nicole Ngwu. She's from Headstart High School. Time now to switch to Malizu Ilechukwu of King's Anchor College.
Malizu, it is time.
Good day, Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debater, and audience. My name is Malizu Ilechukwu. I'm a student of King's Anchor College, Ikotun, Lagos, and I'm here to strongly oppose that it is ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries. Let me start off by saying that it's unethical to benefit from the poverty of workers. By exploiting labor in developing countries, multinational corporations take advantage of people, their need for employment, and that alone violates many ethical standards. Furthermore, exploitation by multinational corporations violates human rights, as workers face unsafe working environments, low wages, and long work hours. The International Labour Organization, has reported that these workers can work up to 80 hours a week, which is twice the legal standard, without adequate compensation. Not only is this morally reprehensible, it also violates international human rights standards. Furthermore, it's unethical because these multinational corporations have a choice. They have a choice to not exploit labor. Let's not forget that these corporations have net worth of hundreds of millions, maybe even billions. They can afford to pay workers higher wages to ensure a sustainable environment and to respect the rights of these workers. But instead, they prioritize excessive profit making over the well-being of individuals. They treat workers as profit-making tools rather than individuals with dignity and rights. More so, this labor exploitation perpetuates poverty, as multinational corporations in developing countries pay workers with wages less than the international standard and below the international poverty line, forcing workers to remain in poverty despite their labor. Imagine not being able to afford basic necessities even after working 80 hours a week. Moreover, the mental strain, humiliation, and stress that comes with an exploitative environment inflicts emotional and psychological harm on workers. In 2013, a study conducted by Occupational Medicine found that exploited workers show significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts because of how they are being treated. Also, its exploitation by multinational corporations encourages economic inequality. It widens the gap between the rich and the poor. It encourages a system where the rich benefit at the expense of the impoverished. Again, by exploiting labor, paying poor low wages, offering poor working conditions, multinational corporations affect the local markets. They suppress the development of a fair and competitive labor market. In furtherance, these exploitatory practices give workers significant health issues. In 2016, a study conducted by the International Bureau of Health Services found that exploited workers have significant health issues such as musculoskeletal disorder, respiratory disorder, chronic pain, and even long-term illnesses like cancer. These exploitatory practices forever affect the quality of lives of workers. it leads to it contributes to social unrest and inequality. As anger and resentment grow, workers may start to demand higher wages and better working conditions, and this can lead to conflict and violence. For example, the Marikatana labor protests in South Africa in 2012. Also, let's not forget that labor exploitation is illegal. It violates the laws of many countries and even international labor laws. It violates the ILO Convention number 120. Moving on, this exploitation of labor leads to loss of lives due to poor working conditions and exposure to dangerous substances. The International Labour Organization has reported that over 2.8 million people die each year from labor exploitation. In addition, it facilitates corruption, as multinational corporations will engage in corrupt officials in developing countries to bypass labor laws and regulations, undermining the ethical principles of transparency, justice, fairness, and accountability. Thank you.
Right on time as well.
No doubt. So the opening rounds are done and dusted between Ilechukwu Malizu of King's Anchor College and Nicole Ngwu of Headstart High School. Interesting debate brewing here. Both of them had paid attention to each other and had made points. I'm sure they cannot wait to rebut and refute each other's points. We'll give them about a minute to decide on what they are refuting and what not, and perhaps to add further points. When we come back from off this break, it will be time for the rebuttal round. Stay with us.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Tollywood College is a modern co-educational day school poised to provide a perfect learning environment for students between the ages of 10 and 16. We are dedicated to innovation and excellence in teaching and learning. I'm talking about research, scholarship, creative activities, service, and engagement. You will find that innovation and excellence in all these fields when you meet a Tollywood College student. We aim to create students that are successful, lifelong learners, confident individuals, and responsible citizens of society. We want our students to be proud of themselves and their school through the values of integrity, inclusiveness, responsiveness, accountability, collaboration, and sustainability. At Tollywood College, we arm our students with technological supremacy and help integrate it to values, morals, and our cultural legacy. The school curriculum has been painstakingly planned on scientific guidelines to provide students with intellectual stimulation, physical robustness, social adaptability, emotional independence, and leadership qualities. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this beautiful city of learning, an experience like no other at Tollywood College, where potentials are unlocked and given premium value. For inquiries, kindly contact us at the email address info@tollywoodcollege.com. That is info@tollywoodcollege.com, or go to the website at www.tollywoodcollege.com. I repeat, www.tollywoodcollege.com. You could also go to the physical address to see things for yourself at kilometer 43 Lekki Ekpe Expressway by Canaan Land Estate, Shongotedo, Aja, Lagos. Rest assured, we will be waiting.
The Tournament of Champions. It's I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to this second and final debate of today, and a fourth and final quarter-final clash, which sees Malizu Ilechukwu of King's Anchor College go up against Headstart High School's Nicole Ngwu.
The motion this hour is it ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries? For this round, we will revert to the motion opposer, who in this case is Malizu. Malizu will refute her opponent's points, and then her opponent, Nicole, will do likewise.
Okay. I am Malizu Ilechukwu, and I'm here to refute my opponent's points. My opponents mentioned that exploitation of labor brings about economic growth and development. I strongly disagree. Many multinational corporations do not invest enough profits to do not invest reinvest their profit into developing nations. A study conducted by the United Nations on Development and Trade found out that multinational corporations only invest about 0.02% of their profit into local economies. This cannot facilitate any form of economic growth and development. Moreover, the short-term benefits that these multinational corporations provide outweigh the long-term harm, as they take more resources they take more than they give. And they also inflict emotional harm and it leads to the loss of lives of workers. Moreover, you said that they provide jobs to ease poverty, but this so-called employment is characterized by low wages, emotional, and it inflicts emotional and psychological harm. At this point, it's not employment, it's an abuse. And it doesn't ease poverty. The jobs provided by these multinational corporations do not ease poverty, as they give wages below living standards, below the international poverty line, forcing workers to remain in poverty despite their work. In addition, you said that provide wages to alternatives. Just because the wages are slightly better than alternative potentials doesn't make it fair and ethical. You also mentioned that it brings about skill development. Multinational corporations do not provide opportunities for skill development because this could mean that the workers will get higher paying jobs, and they don't want that. They need these people to remain low skilled so they can continue to exploit them. You also mentioned infrastructure and community development. A multinational corporation that exploits labor to save costs, do you think they use their resources to provide infrastructure for the benefit of the community? And even if they do, it's for their operations, it's for their needs. It does not accommodate the local community. You also mentioned community development. All these are strategies of multinational corporations to improve their reputation and ignore their systematic problems such as exploitation of labor. I'd like to add more points to buttress my argument. Moreover, in addition, this exploitation of labor leads to environmental degradation, as multinational corporations participate in environmental degrading activities such as pollution, excessive, unstable use of resources, etc. Moreover, it also contributes to systematic inequality. It widens the gap between developed and developing nations, as multinational corporations do not invest profits in developing countries. So basically, the wealth produced by the local labor does not benefit the local community. In addition, by engaging in exploitative practices, multinational corporations increase the rate of child labor in developing countries. It also brings about economic instability. Thank you.
Okay, well done.
I wasn't really prepared for that, but she's refuted what she wants to refute, and I will swing that pendulum over to our opponent, Nicole Ngwu. You just had Malizu Ilechukwu of King's College. So, Headstart High Schools, Nicole. Are you ready?
Yes. Standing on existing protocol, I remain with Nicole and I'll be closing my debate. Firstly, my opponent stated that it violates human rights, but multinational corporations follow strict laws, so I don't think they'll be able to do that. Secondly, she stated that that it doesn't help with low wages, but multinational corporations provide jobs that clearly help with low wages, because local communities are not even able to pay twice what multinational corporations bring to developing countries. My opponent also stated that it affects the labor market, but multinational corporations create more demand for goods in developing countries. The real question is how developing countries should take advantage of multinational corporations, not whether multinational corporations are taking advantage of developing countries. My opponent also said that it's says something about poor working conditions, but some countries have laws that they are legally allowed to work under minimal conditions, like Bangladesh, which exactly led to the 1,100 killings in Bangladesh. My opponent also stated something about environmental degradation, but companies like Coca-Cola and Unilever have helped in retracing emissions, in helping reducing carbon emission footprint. My opponent also stated that something about developed nations, and that take like the gap between developed nations and developing nations. But now developed nations went through the stages that went through the stages that developing nations are going through, like China and the US, because China progressed from low-wage labor to global manufacturing leadership. So I ask again, is it ethical to criticize multinational corporations for operating in these countries when they provide the lifeline that many desperately need? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your rebuttal. There is only one final round to go.
That's right, and that round comes up after this break. Stay here, Lagos.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Obiwizi is Nigeria's pioneer e-commerce platform for pre-owned gadgets. They are Nigeria's home of gadgets with warranties, where you can purchase all your favorite devices and quality accessories, both brand new and pre-owned. You can also trade in your older devices for a newer model in a simple and convenient way. To crown it all, when you decide to sell off that device of yours to meet that important cash obligation, Obiwizi is your guy, literally your guy. With offline and pickup stores in Ikeja, Lekki, Abuja, and Benin, Obiwizi delivers nationwide. So make sure you are following Obiwizi on Instagram at Obiwizi Backup Page. Yes, that is on Instagram. You could send an email to the email address info@obiwizi.com or go to the website at www.obiwizi.com. They are also on X at Obiwizi, literally Obiwizi. Obiwizi is spelled Obiwezi. Yes, Obiwizi. Follow them on all pages and of course all social media platforms and get that device of your dreams.
The Tournament of Champions. It's I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. The final quarterfinal debate between Ilechukwu Malizu of King's Anchor College and Nicole Ngwu of Headstart High School. We've seen both of these two brilliant 15-year-olds go head-to-head in their opening and rebuttal rounds. And now we come to the final round.
Absolutely. And for this round, both of them will get 3 minutes to close. And we will start with the motion supporter, Ngwu. Nicole, it is time to rest your case.
Great to be back here again. I'm closing my debate. Imagine a lifeboat in a vast ocean filled with people struggling to survive. Multinational corporations represent a powerful hand reaching to pull some out abroad. Critics often argue that this hand doesn't offer perfect conditions, but isn't survival better than sinking into despair? Now, let's ground this analogy with facts. In 2021, over 190 million people were left unemployed, with the concentration in developing countries. Multinational corporations provided millions of jobs for people in these regions. Critics often point to low wages, but multinational corporations, yet in these cases, multinational corporations provide double what developing countries offer. In Cambodia, workers in multinational companies earn $187 per month. This money helps with children's education and medical care for families, which, in other words, would be unavailable without multinational corporations. Furthermore, the economic ripple effects are undeniable. For every job that multinational corporations create, more emerge. This has been seen to reduce poverty rates. Is the system perfect? No. But consider this. Would you rather allow millions to suffer without multinational corporations, or focus on refining these ethical frameworks so these relationships provide greater benefits? Multinational corporations are not flawless saviors, but their presence often serves as lifelines for millions. The ethical path lies in establishing better communities, establishing better jobs for multinational corporations. So I ask, can we reject the hand that offers opportunities for millions, or would you come together to foster better opportunities for all? Let's support the hand that feeds us and moves us forward. Thank you.
Well done.
So Nicole Ngwu of Headstart High School rests her case. There are 3 minutes left on this one now, and they belong to Malizu Ilechukwu of King's Anchor College.
Absolutely, Malizu. It is time to rest your case.
All protocols duly observed. I'm Malizu Ilechukwu, and I remain resolute on my stance that it is unethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries. Let me start off by saying that ethics are based off the foundation of human dignity, fairness, and respect. And exploiting labor in developing countries, such as these multinational corporations do, undermine these principles. It is unethical to prioritize profit-making over the well-being of individuals, yet multinational corporations benefit from the suffering of others. They take advantage of the economic vulnerability and the desperation of people in developing countries. It's unethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries because it inflicts emotional and psychological harm on workers, as workers have suicidal thoughts, depression, and anxiety. It also gives workers significant health issues such as cancer and musculoskeletal disorder, forever impacting their quality of life. Let's not forget that these exploitatory practices undermine fundamental human rights, as laborers work long hours, up to 80 hours a week, under poor working conditions, yet they are paid wages below living standards, below the international poverty line. Let's not also forget that this labor exploitation leads to loss of lives. Over 2.8 million people die each year from labor exploitation. Are we still questioning if it's ethical for multinational corporations to do what they do? Let's not forget the power that these multinational corporations have. They have power, they have the resources to lift people out of poverty, to empower them, to respect their rights, but yet they put them in further despair. They leave nothing for workers whose sweat and blood power their systems. How can it be ethical to take advantage of a person, to pay them below their value, to inflict emotional and psychological trauma on a person? Therefore, I implore you to reject the motion that it's ethical for multinational corporations to exploit labor in developing countries. Thank you.
On that bombshell note, this debate comes to a screeching halt.
Indeed. Now it is up to the judges. These debaters have done what they needed to do, and now they have rested. It is up to the judges.
Yvonne, you used to rest.
Femi, I'm resting.
Okay. Let me join you in that rest. We'll take one final break. When we come back, we'll hope that the judges will rest right after this.
The biggest debate competition in Nigeria. I beg to differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Yes, gentlemen, specifically, you are the ones I am talking to. Lucas Green has an unbeatable offer just for you. This season, Lucas Green is offering you the chance to get 3 premium senator kaftans, 2 stylish English trousers, 2 office-ready shirts, and 1 classy pair of palm slippers, all for the price of 160,000 naira. Every order comes with a free gift. Hurry, as this is your chance to elevate your wardrobe at an unbeatable discount. Limited slots are available, so please act fast. Don't say I didn't tell you. Now, send a WhatsApp message to the number 0703-286-7011. That is 0703-286-7011. Do this now to book your appointments for measurement and fabric selection. That is 0703-286-7011. Do not miss it. Delivery takes 15 working days after payment. So follow the Instagram handle at menswear_by_Lucas Green on Instagram for more updates. Now be advised that this is a limited time offer, so make sure that you are quick to go and secure your spot today.
The Tournament of Champions. It's I Beg to Differ on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
We're applauding one final time in this final day of quarterfinal matchups. Ilechukwu Malizu of King's Anchor College against Nicole Ngwu of Headstart High School. Young minds, 15 years of age, both of them. SS3 students, both of them. They've come here, they've given it all on the battlefield. And now, others will determine how they have performed. The good news is, our judges are impeccable, as they have been all through. And they are indefatigable and incorruptible. So we can trust that the decision will be a reflection of the output in the end. We'll see how that goes. Special thanks to everybody who's been a part of this so far. As we prepare for the semi-finals on Thursday, there are no debates tomorrow. By the way, Marianne will be here from 3 p.m. And then on Thursday, we'll join her at 4 for the semi-finals. Obi Weezy, we thank you very much for all the gadgetry. We appreciate that. Tollywood College, thanks for the prize money. Thank you to Card Central Nigeria Limited. Thanks to Codros. Thanks to Biloxi. And thanks as well to our fashion plug, Lucas Green Fashion. We appreciate some of the messages some of you have managed to drop here. SMA Frank Udoekwo says, great exposure and excellent debate. Thank you very much. Akobondu Godson Ujunwa says, I have voted for Ngwu Nicole now. We'll find out how everybody votes in a bit. Eric Chris goes, brilliant minds. Kudos to the kids. Femi and Yvonne, great job. Nigeria Info, the best station all the way. We don't like to brag, but is it any doubt? Jamb Waek Neko, great debaters, fantastic debaters, brilliant debaters. I feel like transferring money to them. Tell them to drop their bank accounts, open their mouths, and tell me the amount.
Okay, they've just... How much do you want? Say that now.
And I will send you my bank account. I'm their caretaker for now.
Mm-hmm. There's a message here that says, beautiful evening, Mr. Femi and Madam Yvonne. He said Okhaifo. Look, I forgive you.
Yeah,
wow.
Madam Okhaifo is it?
It's Okhaifo, not Ohai.
Okay.
Okhaifo.
There's a glottal.
It is.
There's a glottal infusion there somewhere.
Yes, it is.
It's like, imagine if you had a cough.
No, that's horrible. That's a horrible analogy. Why a cough? Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's go
on. Goodness. Okay, this person says, beautiful evening, Madam Mr. Femi. I was going to say Madam Femi. Beg your pardon. Yeah. Wow, this is more like the final before the final. Jonathan from Ojodu with that one. I'm just thinking who will win. Aniemeke Christopher with that message. Well, we're about to find out, Christopher. And someone here says, which Thursday, please? In 2 days. This Thursday.
Yes, sir.
This Thursday. There's a message here that says, blissful evening, Femi and Yvonne. Great debates these wonderful kids have given to us. These are the future of Nigeria. I'm proud of them with my full chest. Congratulations to every one of these kids, their teachers, parents, and to you both. I can't help but be happy for them. Indeed, there's hope for Nigeria because of these kids. And those here, Dean Naji, you couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
No doubt, brother. Eze Bahome says, fire for fire debate. I love it. Andorfer Tata Jr. says, I'm done sharpening my teeth for any of my teachers. Any time I see any of them on the road or something. Imagine how these young minds are speaking fluent. You want to accuse your teachers? The people who sent you to the Ntakara school that you went.
Femi, no, I take exceptions to that. Ntakara schools have produced some brilliant
because you and I went to Ntakara schools.
I mean, I did. I went to Ntakara school.
I did too.
And I came out this way, so
again, I went to a government school.
I went to multiple schools, so I went to a mixture of both. I went to Ntakara school.
Was your father
I went
military?
To a private school. He grew up in the barracks, and so we moved a lot.
So he was military?
He was, in a way.
I went to Methodists. I started there back in the day.
But I think I turned out this way because my father was keen on education. So after school, he would make sure we did our homework, and then he would tutor us himself.
Yeah, me too. My father. My mother educated you in some other fashion. They came together to produce whatever it was they ended up producing. Ngwu Precious Ruby says both debaters are on fire. Debo Williams, great debate thus far. They both brought their A games. Well done, ladies.
49-year-old Aniemeke Christopher is asking if he can come and do his debate. Agbaya.
You are only 49 years old. You are late. By like 13, what am I saying? By like, 33 years.
Yes, 36 even.
Father Oviemuno, Innocent Obi says, honestly, I love their calmness and well-articulated points. That notwithstanding, there must be a winner at the end.
Yes,
well
and we
done, girls.
We have the poll results in. We will read those.
I'm tempted to,
after you want to read. You want us to go to the.
I'm tempted
results?
to flip the script.
Okay, then, and flip the script we shall. On Facebook, 57.1% voted for Malizu to win. 42.9% voted for Nicole to win. Oh, beg your pardon. That was X on X.
On X.
Yes. Then on Facebook.
It's usually close on X.
On Facebook, 46% voted for Malizu to win.
46.
54% voted for Nicole to win.
That's also close.
And on YouTube, 51% voted for Nicole to win. And 48% voted for Malizu to win. What do the judges say?
So, X gave it to Malizu, YouTube
and Facebook
gave it to Nicole.
That's right.
Slight variations in each of those cases. I don't know. Oh, good Lord. Oluwatoyin Samuel Omoni says, what a great exponential topic with wide exponential points. Akobundu Godson Ujunwa says, Malizu really gave us her punchlines. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see how it goes. People are even attacking themselves here.
Regarding Ntakara,
I'm telling you, no, it's more like Ando Alpha Tato saying, Akobundu Godson Ujunwa, Shebi, you voted for Nicole before it kicked off now. So you have decided that, you are voting the other way. Which,
I love it. This is why it's really important to join the live streams. There's so much action
so much buzz. Isaac Inyong says, hello, everyone. We greet you back. Kumdwal Nanle Daniel says, the debaters are so calm. Good luck to you guys. Yunusa Shehu Abubakar, he goes, both of them are very sharp. Interesting. All right, guys. Let us go now to the scorecard. The heart-breaking part. Remember, the judges were deciding or marking based on set parameters. And the parameters were similar for the first two rounds, slightly different for the third round. For the first two rounds, it was the uniqueness. If I could check my book. Yes. Okay. They were looking at uniqueness and originality of those points. In the third round, they were looking at convincing argument, the superiority of the argument. So, while the first two rounds were point-based, point, who gave more points? Who did justice to the individual points? You can give less points, but you can score more if you give full value to each of your points. So the judges judge on a spectrum of 1 to 3 per point, 1 to 3 points, 1 to 3 marks per point. If you drop a point, you don't explain it at all, you probably get 1 point. If you explain it some, it's nice, you probably progress to 2. If you do a brilliant job of it, you can progress to 3, and these things sum up. So let's go now to the final verdict. Malizu and Nicole, do I have your ears? Okay. Here is how our judges have scored this final quarterfinal debate. For the presentation round, George Ama scores it. Nicole 16, Malizu 18. Judge Ufoma scores it. Nicole 18, Malizu 19. Chief Judge Chike scores it. Nicole 17, Malizu 15.5. It's a total presentation score of 51 to Nicole and 52.5
That's close.
to Malizu. That's a 1.5 swing. Advantage Malizu. We now go to the rebuttal rounds. For this second round, Judge Ama scores it. Nicole 10, Malizu 13. Judge Ufoma scores it. Nicole 12, Malizu 16. Chief Judge Chike scores it. Nicole 8, Malizu 12. It's 30 points to 41. An 11-point swing in this round, increasing the distance to 12.5 points. Advantage Malizu. At this point, Nicole will need a brilliant closing, and Malizu will need a horrible deduction performance. So let's go to the closing rounds. Judge Ama scores it 7.5 to Nicole, 8 to Malizu. Judge Ufoma scores it 7.5 to Nicole, 8 to Malizu. And Chief Judge Chike scores it 7.5 to Nicole, 8 to Malizu. There is unanimity in their assessment of the closing rounds. So it's 22.5 to Nicole and 24 to Malizu. Judge Ufoma has made a deduction of 4 points.
Judge Yvonne, you mean?
Oh, so what is wrong with me? Judge Yvonne has made a 4-point deduction to both debaters. And so our final scoring is thus. Judge Ama scores it 33.5 to 39. Malizu. Judge Ufoma scores it 37.5 to 43. Malizu. And Chief Judge Chike scores it 32.5 to 35.5. Malizu. That's 103.5 to 117.5. The deductions are equal. So the final score by 113.5 points to 99.5 points. Our winner, final semi-final qualifier from King's Anchor College, Ilechukwu, Malizu. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you and to you, Nicole. Well, girl, I'd like to say congratulations as well. You've come this far. And I hope that I see you again. If you're up to it, if you're up for it, I'd love to see you again in March. Well done, well done, well done. Malizu, first of all, I'm happy that you did not mix the dates, that you made it here.
Yeah, echoes of season 7. Huh?
My goodness. That will forever be etched in my memory. Because, I mean, shout out to your mom. She did all that she could to ensure that you came back. Then, unfortunately, the time had passed. But it's good to see your progress so far. And that tells us that were you given that chance or had you come when you were supposed to, you probably would have done likewise. And that speaks to your brilliance as a debater. So well done. Congratulations to you. Here is your topic for the semi-finals. That also contains the side that you will argue in 2 days. I have just a few notes here that I'd like to share quickly. I'll start with Malizu. It is abuse, not it's an abuse, okay? Except you're referring to the kind of abuse. It's an abuse of power. You know, it's an act of abuse, but it is not, it is an abuse, and you leave it at that. All right? You instead say it is abuse. Oh, that's abuse. Don't do that. Okay? Not, oh, that's an abuse. Don't do that. Except you want to say that's an abuse of authority or that's an act of abuse. You do not say that is abuse. There's a difference between systematic and systemic. Systematic refers to the way or culture of doing something. In other words, following a system of doing something. Systemic, on the other hand, refers to intrinsic qualities, or say there's a problem with the system itself. Do you understand? So you meant to say systemic as opposed to systematic. All right? When someone does something systematically, they follow a laid down they follow laid down principles. They do it by the book, or they do it after a system. Okay? But when something is systemic, there's systemic racism, there is systemic corruption. It means there's a problem with the system itself.
And
all right?
Almost always used negatively.
Exactly.
So you can say, well, it's like an ailment.
That's right. That's really good. Spot on. And there is no such word as exploitatory. It is exploitative.
Exploitative.
Okay? Well, you said it the first time. I ignore that. I wanted to be sure that I heard correctly. So it is exploitative, not exploitatory. Okay? Exploitative is the adjective. All right? It is ethical, not ethical. Ethical. Ethical, okay? It is there, not dear. All right? And to Nicole, I will say it is pave the way. You pave the way, not pave way. You pave the way. That's how the saying goes. Infrastructure.
Or you make way.
Or you
either
way.
make way. Don't confuse them.
Yes.
You make way or you pave the way.
You pave the way or you make way, okay? But you don't pave way. The saying itself is pave the way. All right? You can also make way. Infrastructure refers to, you know, everything that makes up the buildings, the equipment and whatnot that make up a system, okay? So there was no need to say infrastructures. All right? Infrastructure is infrastructure. You can say bits of infrastructure, all right, but you do not say infrastructures, all right? Except in very, very, you know, unique cases, which I do not want to belabor you with. For the betterment of, not for the better of. I'm sure you were referring to the community, and you said you said for the better of community.
We have a minute.
Oh my goodness. Should have said for the betterment of community, okay? Industrial revolution. Girl, I heard industrial evolution, honey.
Yeah, I heard it too.
It is industrial revolution, okay? Look, and of course, the same thing applies to you. It is that, not that, all right? Well done to both of you. Lagos, we have come to the end of the quarterfinals.
Thank you very much. You did say degradation when you meant to say degradation. Nicole had corrected it when she went up again.
Yes.
But brilliant debate. Nicole, I love your
goodness.
your powers of articulating your arguments.
That's
is
right.
beautiful.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you again.
Okay? We
So,
hope to see you again.
We will. The advertisement will come perhaps before the end of the year or early in the coming year.
Definitely
Thank you.
Before the end of the year.
Thank you,
Definitely
Lagos.
before.
We got to go. So we know the pairings now. We know it's Malizu up against Abiel.
At 4 p.m. on Thursday. At 5 p.m. on Thursday.
All
and
right.
at 4 p.m. it is Abigail up against Angela.
You will remember. We got to go.
Olajolo.
Hello, Olajolo. Thanks to Ken Odreme, who's in the studio.
Who's laughing at me?
Amazing girl, amazing guy. Olamide Fajolu, to Tunde Abdul Salam, to the rest of the crew, Sam Iwuji, and of course, Onyeka.
We'll
Eleda.
see you on Thursday, Lagos. Bye.
Also, Sheriff Quadri, but most of all, thanks to you at home. Bye bye.
News and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
In the cooking game, you need a winning game plan. I'm not just talking about your fresh ingredients, utensils.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.